Hi, this is Ernie again, and taking everybody on a shop tour of my new shop and the new house. Lots of you have seen photos of it, but we haven't shot a video of it. Thought I would take you around and show you some of the things here. Basically, obviously, that's the lathe, and this is the lathe's new storage box for items. The cutters are stored here, and many of the peripherals are stored there. One of the things I've tried to do is have pull-out shelves. These were going to be drawers, but I decided to leave the fronts off because it tells you exactly what's in there. And also you can see all the tooling that's available. I did have to modify this one a little bit so that the Lazy Susan would turn. They all slide on plastic Teflon, so they slide really pretty easy. There's thumb holes. As you can see, that slides pretty easy, even though there's a lot of weight on it. This one's probably the heaviest one. You need two hands. But all the tools are hanging on pegboards that I need. Also, the chuck keys are readily available. There's space for extra chuck keys if you need them on the left side. Here's the quick change post wrench. Chuck key for the 4-jaw and 4-jaw self-centering. There are lots of magnets all over the place so that I can attach things to the lathe bed. There's a flat bladed screwdriver, and there's the Phillips. And this is the wrench for the lathe, plus all of the centers. And over here is the chuck and the threading attachment. This was a table that was right in the middle of my workshop, trying to keep it clear so I have a place to put tooling as it's needed. Granite block and the Noga gauge holder I use all the time. All the machines, by the way, are on rollers. The lathe and the mill are on leveling rollers so that I can actually level and keep in the correct position the mill and the lathe. But all the rest of everything has rollers. I don't know if you can see that over there. You can see a roller there. One of the things I wanted to accomplish in this workshop was to have lots of room between the back of machines so I could get back there to service them. So this is the back of the lathe. See, there's enough space behind the milling machine to actually get behind there and clean all the mess that always gets accumulated when you're doing something. This is kind of the messy workstation. I have a small belt disc sander, and it's attached to a hose which can attach to the vacuum cleaner so I can keep the dust down. There's a nice little tabletop drill press that Jim Sanders gave me. Thank you, Jim. I've used it a lot on these little projects where I don't want to fire up the milling machine. I left my large drill press upstairs. I would like to use the TEG lathe a little bit more than I have, but so far I haven't done it. I need to make some collets for clockwork, and right now I'm not doing any clockwork, so it's not a necessary item. My very first rollaway cabinet that I ever bought by Craftsman. They're really not a great one, but I do have all my tools in there. Drills on top, as you can see. You can see all the drills are there. Different size drills for different purposes, metric drills, wrenches, all the different Allen keys. The metric ones are on the left and the inches are on the right. These are Torx wrenches and also some metric Allen keys. Just general screwdrivers and just a mishmash of general tools. Files. These are for soft metal like aluminum and brass. And this is for ferrous metals like steel and iron. And the lower half is just a holding tray for a lot of different items. Over here are two toolboxes holding quite a bit of material. Up on top I have all my dies and taps. Here's a drawer of just miscellaneous milling cutters and centers. Miscellaneous reams. I should put my metric reams in here. Some miscellaneous bits and pieces of taps and dies. And a mishmash of Allen keys need to be sorted. And there is, these are the stamps for lettering. Also there's a Starrett jack there for tool setup. A lower drawer has V-blocks, 1, 2, 3 blocks, some of the smaller vices, precision vise, tap holder, and some other size clamps. This is my adjustable vise. It's set up so that it can be attached to any of the workbenches here, and I do move it around as need be. This is also another toolbox with a lot of machine parts for the TEG lathe. One of these drawers. This is all round and square files of various sizes and types. Just a mishmash of tools down here. This all needs to be cleaned a little bit better and set up better. This item over here is a tapping station, which enables you to use these really small taps like the 080 and the 256 and the 172s and have pretty good outcomes without too much breakage. If I use this, I usually don't break any of the taps. Next is the Enco milling machine. I'm going to call this the metal grinder. I bought it many years ago from a friend, and it really has served a good purpose, and you can do quite a bit with it because it's very large. But the quill bushing is very, very sloppy, so advancing the quill more than 2 inches is a problem. Nothing comes out straight with that. This is one of those angle type vices. Was able to get this at a very economical price. I also, on recommendation, bought these digital readouts and set the mill up with it. And other than the fact that the batteries go dead within a few days, it's a really nice way to do setup. So far I haven't used it that much, but I have used it as setups. Down on the side are all the clamps for holding things. By the way, this is has a dedicated 220 volt. So there's the dedicated 220 volt circuit. It has a relay system so that it can start if there's a power interruption. The mill would be shut down and not be restarted until the power comes back on. I've set it up with that ratchet so that rather than use the crank arm, which is really hard to crank it up, it's very heavy, I use the ratchet to crank it up, and basically you just ratchet away until it goes up. I did leave the cover off because I changed the belts almost continuously doing the work, and it's a pain in the neck to put the cover back on. It's the roller and leveling device for the milling machine, which, oh, by the way, I didn't include this in the milling machine description, but there's plenty of storage underneath for all the extra parts here. I call this my rough and dirty work area. Vise is here where I use this for cutting most of all the metal that I have to cut, or if I have to pound something with a hammer, or messy work with oil and chemicals. So I use this area. It's attached right directly to the wall studs, so it's very, very sturdy. Underneath are all the toolboxes. The middle toolbox, this is my metric wrenches. This is regular US wrenches, and other things are stored underneath, such as thinner and kerosene. One of the things I wanted to do with this workshop was have a better place to store the materials. So I use these tubes to store all my metal, and a little shelf there with some rough hardware, but material for the milling machine. And up on top are all the tubes for all the different kinds of pieces of metal, rod. Over in the corner there is a shelf with just oils and thinners and that sort of thing. And then the back wall here, I have pegboard, which, by the way, I painted white so that it would be more bright in here. I have a lot of my tools on the pegboard. Over here I have my drill and tap chart. Another material area that I have is 2 bookshelves chock full of stuff, and some more metal storage here for small bits and pieces of metal. This workbench I call my clean workbench. Obviously it's clean. It wasn't clean before I started the video, but I did clean it off for the video. Basically, I use this for fine detail work where I want a clean surface to work on. It does have a spotlight which I can move around and bring right down in close, but all my smaller tools are located right here. Over here is the box with all my fine tools. I try to keep in here small little things, small screwdrivers and wrenches, just measuring tools that are flat, some of the larger tools in the bottom shelf. Also, this area has pegboard with all the fine tools located on it. Oh, and by the way, there it is, the grasshopper, the non-running grasshopper. Sorry. Did have a problem with the little man. He fell on the floor and we broke his head, but we managed to get him glued back together. So, if anything, at least the man looked a lot more hand tools located here. Also, this little black book, which I use almost continuously. And I also bought some new versions of it for metric tooling and for screws. No workshop is complete unless it has a complete sound system. And here I'm using a broken computer as a streaming device. I have an amplifier, a CD player, gosh, a turntable, and over there, hidden behind that shelf, behind that bag, is a reel-to-reel turntable. And I even have all the records and tapes to go along with it. In addition, there's a nice large table here for clean assembly. This is Cindy's cutting table, so I use that from time to time to stretch parts out across the large area that I'm not going to make a mess with. The rest of this is all unfinished. Storage area over there. My son-in-law is building a bookcase. I have the shop crane down here. All the locomotives are stored over there. And of course, the heating system is down here. And that's basically my workshop. Hopefully, anybody sees something that I should have done different, let me know. Or something you really like and you want more information on, let me know. Thank you, and have a good day.